Hey guys, I'll start with an update. Lucas Rusick getting the news back. It'll be a couple of days for that to resolve, and then Jack Quinn is looks like he's ready to go. So I would expect to see him in the lineup.
Don, when you look at the schedule and look at this homestand, how much easier is it, given where you are in the standings, to just worry about your games and not really fret about what happened last night? Because you're not one or two out, you have to just go win your games.
Yeah, we've felt we've been in that situation of you have to take care of your own business, and so yes, it's obviously nice to be back home and to be on home ice, and we've got to take advantage of that as well.
You talked a lot about the psyche of the team this year and how that's kind of evolved. How did you see that up close within that pressure, moment there heading on that road trip, just how that factored into the performance?
Yeah, I felt the Edmonton game, we got frustrated late, almost after the fact as it wound down. The Detroit game I mentioned, and what I remember, we generated a lot in the first. We had a really good start. Could have been up by a couple, and we weren't. That was a battle. But the psyche to me is still in a good place. Do you want it stronger? You're always going to want it stronger. So, but it's not in a bad place. It's not in a negative place. If that's what you're asking, I think it's solid, and but you never settle. You want more, and we want to be better in all areas of our game, and that's one of them.
This is Jack's first game back. Would it be too much to ask to put him on your special teams, or do you want to throw him right in there? And penalty killing especially, what makes him such a good penalty killer? Is it his smarts?
Yeah, he's effective in any situation because he's an intelligent player. He is one of our smartest players. Has a feel for the game, for situations, for depth and reads and everything that comes with it. He's got a lot of hockey sense. So, and as far as how we'll use him tonight, it's always gauge in game. We'll see what his energy level looks like, and but he will probably get time in all of those slots or situations, and we'll see how much time.
When you've talked a lot about the situation in Edmonton. You had a couple days off after that game for Calgary. How important was that to just happen to have that break at that time to maybe get your guys, get the psyche back ready to play the next game, as tough as that one finished?
Yeah, it was a tough finish, and to sometimes you come in there and you say the best thing. You always deal with circumstances. So if you played the next night, you're going to say, okay, the circumstances, we're playing the next night. This is great. We had 2 days in between. We used those 2 days for different types of meetings, individual meetings, line meetings, special team meetings, whatever it is, and an overall team meeting. It is a luxury when you have 2 days in between a game. When you have 1 day in between a game, you're cutting down film from the game the night before, and you're cutting film of your opponent of the next day. And so you're combining what just happened in the last game and trying to figure out, should we move on from the last game and just move to tomorrow's game, or is there stuff from last night? So there's so much to compile, in a 24-hour period. Closure on the night before and getting ready for the next night. When you have 2 games, 2 days in between, it's a dream in that sense. The next morning you can get closure on the night before and look at those clips, wash it, and the next day you have 1 full day to get ready for the next opponent and target things. So 2 days is always a luxury.
And then you talked yesterday about this game a little, gauging their legs. How important for you as the coach is the first period tonight, and just in terms of gauging where they are leg-wise, mentally, wherever, coming off that trip?
The first few shifts are really telling, to how your guys feel. And then, you play 82 games. You are not going to feel good every night. It's learning how to execute and adapt to when you don't feel good, when you don't have your legs. And that's that's an ongoing thing. I think with everybody, it's part of evolving as a player, evolving as a team, is learning how to still succeed on nights where you're not as proficient or as efficient. And so regardless of how you feel, the objective is to win, and you may have to go about that a different way if you feel differently. But the hope is obviously the intent is to have energy and play our style, which is with a greater pace and greater pressure.
You got that opportunity to play with Alex Tuck and Tage Thompson. What does he get out of that? What does he take away?
I will say that he didn't get that opportunity. He earned it. He worked. He's worked on lots of details. Growth. For me, you have a player that's as talented as JJ. He can score. He can score at this level. But there's lots of things that you can learn that are going to make you a better overall player. A better plus player, not just a trading chances and trading goals player, but winning games. And I think he's worked on he's added a lot of detail to his game that helps you win games. He's positionally better to get pucks back, to defend less. So he's earned it, and you can see just in the games his positioning created lots of goals. Or the goals that were created were he was involved in those over the last couple games. The Edmonton game, I think he had 2. His positioning and forcing the opposition into areas where Tuck and Thompson could take advantage of it and then convert was a significant impact. So what he's done before the goals and before the chances that he's created is some subtleties that he's really evolved his game to become a better and wiser player without the puck.
What does he get from those two? Like, I'm sure they sit on the bench and talk to him. Just to be on the ice with a pair of guys like those two. What does he get from them?
Well, I'm sure and certain that he likes the fact that he's playing with Tage Thompson and Tuck because of their skill level. But I think he offers as much as he gets as well. I think they're getting a guy with speed, a guy that can finish, a guy that's quick on pucks. So I think it's equal. So I think that, the conversations go back. I don't want to sit here and tell you that, it's almost, you almost feel like you're insulting him by saying what's he getting from them. He's giving something back to him. Otherwise, I wouldn't put him in that situation either. I'm not putting him there and saying you two guys have to lift this guy. I'm putting him there because I think he can help those two guys. We've seen that. Look, he's helped those two guys over the last couple games. So that's what comes to mind when you ask me that question of what those two are giving him. I think it's equal.
What's allowed Tage to get even beyond the goals and points, just the last few weeks, whatever month?
Maybe it's JJ, right? But he's gone to the net, shot more pucks. I think his intentions, his focus is a little bit more direct. To answer your question, I think Tage himself is a little bit more direct with his game, and I say a little bit. He can be more direct. I still think there's opportunities that he's not seeing as much as he could, although he's in the process. His work ethic, his commitment, his drive is all there. I mean, this is a guy that is unwavering in work ethic and commitment to find ways. And this is part of him evolving into a better player every day.
You've tried a few different guys in that spot with Tage and Tuck. How have you seen that maybe create some competition? Because I'm sure guys, love the chance to play with those two. And how have you seen it, not just for the guys that have gotten the shot, but for Jeff, kind of create some hunger and competition in the lineup?
For Skinner, you're asking, or?
Just for everybody, including
Yeah.
Jeff, that spot's sort of almost there for the taking in some ways.
Yeah, it's all about getting more out of our guys in our group, and I obviously didn't feel we were getting enough, specifically with that line. So then you're gonna say, okay, what can we do? What can we tweak or change? And Greenway was there and gives a different thing. And again, it depends on some matchups. If you're on the road and we don't have the matchups, maybe Greenway's a better fit for that game itself for different reasons than JJ would be a fit. So you're tweaking. You're not just tweaking based on just you want to tweak. You're tweaking on your competitors, but it is really nice. I guess the easiest way to say it, Matthew, is when you put somebody in there like JJ and they perform, they just elevated the bar for the next guy. That's a dream. That's a dream for a coach. When you have personnel that can elevate the bar and create the competition for you, is significant. Everybody will tell you as a coach, it's the generic thing: more accountability, more accountability, more accountability. As a coach, you have the weapon of accountability. The more skill you have on your team. Let's face it. If the guy thinks he can be replaced, that's the best accountability there is. But you got to have the guys that can replace the next guy and challenge the next guy and push the next guy, taking their ice time. And so if JJ goes there and he's successful, he just raised the bar for everyone else. That's the biggest accountability you're ever going to have, is players raising the bar to their peers. And and JJ, his performance the last couple games certainly has raised the bar to the point where he has to keep that up as well, which is great for a hockey team.
What's the plan with Devin going forward? Do you have one, or kind of?
Well, we have the thought right now is gauging that back-to-back that's coming up. As mentioned, Upi has established himself as our number one guy right now, and when you look at a back-to-back, the question is, okay, how do we feel about playing him in that back-to-back based on the workload the first night? And if not, it's all probability Devin would slide in there.
What kind of benefit did you see him get now that you've had him here for, I don't know, a little over a week, just from the time he spent down there? What sort of differences have you seen in him?
I think just natural maturing through the course of a season. And Rochester is a tremendous resource for many reasons, coaching and for the player himself. And you see the impacts of just another day at the professional level for a young player that is engaged in his own development. He's here and he's soaking up things, so he's going to be more mature and better the next day. And if you send him there, he's doing the exact same thing in a very, in a great environment. So you've just seen the progression of maturing with him as a player, as a person, as a pro athlete, day by day as the season's gone along.